Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen Workshop. It is February 24th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. The prayer Tuesday night will be with Alderman Waldron, and I will have the pledge. Should all have a copy of the minutes from the February 1st, 2022 public hearing and regular meeting. First, we're going to move on to presentations. Let's start off with the fire department. Chief Beasley.
All right, it looks like this is becoming a monthly operation for us. Hopefully, we will not be back up here for a little while. We're going to pin badges tonight on 6 firefighters. It's an honor to put these badges on these young men. They've come here from other areas of other fire departments in most cases, volunteering in some cases, and came here to try to make a difference in this city, and we're proud to have them here. We'll start off with Brandon Schroeder. Thank you, sir. Your wife won't come up? Yes. His wife will be pinning his badge, and I think they have plans later for tonight. May I share? Mm-hmm. Tonight they'll be going to the hospital for delivery of a baby girl. So, congratulations. Let's turn around here and get up here. Next, Glenn Radner. No surprises for you tonight, right? Okay. Will Daniel. Who's pinning you tonight? My old chief. From Woodbury. What's your name, sir? Robert Winter. Nice to meet you, Mr. Chief Winter. Congratulations. Is this the first time you've ever put a badge on somebody, Chief?
Yes.
Really? Somehow I don't believe that.
Except my own. Was with age. There you go. Congratulations.
He means more to you than me.
Thank you, Chief.
Absolutely. John Barnett. Promise not to mess this one up. Noah Bellueta. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding.
Good job.
I was hooked on phonics. I got that broke down perfectly. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a friend, probably a mentor, Steve Hathaway from Kittrell Fire Department. Did Aaron make it? I got one that just is coming off a call. He is coming through the door now. So let's all act like we don't know what we're doing. Come on in, Aaron. Waiting on you, bud.
Sorry, sir.
Is there somebody you want to pin your badge?
There she is. Natalie.
There you go, my dear.
Ow.
St. Louis Fire Department, ain't it?
It is, it is.
You should have that. Push it down. Watch this. Clear shirt right here. Not you, I didn't call you sweetheart. All right, we got the whole gang here now. That's good. Gentlemen, you know now that you wear Laverne Fire Department across the back of your coats, correct? You're representing the city, and everything you do on your time off, everything away reflects back on this department and this city. Keep yourself clean. Bottom of that coat has your name on it. More importantly, always represent your family well, okay? I'm going to swear y'all in tonight, so if you would, raise your right hand. We've practiced this, right? Repeat after me. I, state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute my duties as a firefighter
that I will faithfully execute my duties as a firefighter
to the city of Laverne,
to the city of Laverne,
and I will do my best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend
I will do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
and to the state and the charter and ordinance of the city.
to the state and the charter and ordinance of the city.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Our new firefighters. So we look forward to your long careers here. Moving on to our second presentation, this is the I-24 Smart Corridor Project with TDOT. Mr. Smith, if you'd like to come up, and feel free to introduce your team.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Board, thank you for having us tonight. My name is Lee Smith. I'm with the Tennessee Department of Transportation. We're working on a project called the I-24 Smart Corridor to try to improve traffic for our region. Travel time reliability will be the key word, reliability tonight. So I'm here with folks that are helping us with the project. Rebecca Hammond, our Public Information Officer for Region 3. Sharon Malik is with Arcadis, is one of our consultants. Josh Brown is one of our team members at TDOT. That's working on the operations and maintenance portion of the project. And then Matt Riccardi, who's also with Arcadis. So this crack squad and among a lot of other folks are working on getting this project set up and getting it underway. So I'm here tonight to kind of give you guys an update. I think that the project's been ongoing for a while. It's a pretty big effort. So I'll be giving just a kind of an update about where we are, but also always looking back to understand the priority and the purpose and need for the project and that sort of thing. So, Glenn, were you going to advance the slides?
Just point at me.
Okay, yes, sir. All right. So, I think we all can agree that I-24 Murfreesboro Road is one of the most congested corridors in the state. You know, we want to do all we can to improve traffic out there, traffic safety out there. So TDOT has really leaned forward with technology out on that corridor with not only the freeway, but also the arterial, the signal system. And we want to undergird that technology we're doing, which is a lot, with operations and maintenance. Any technology you put out to try to improve traffic, you need to make sure it's operated and maintained well. So TDOT, sorry. TDOT and the local agencies have made significant investments here in this project. Kyle and Bruce and Jason have all been great to work with. And really it's a partnership. We have 4 local agencies, Nashville, Laverne, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro. They're all part of this team with TDOT. So we've done a lot of work with Laverne staff, you know, like I said, with Kyle and with Adam before him, on establishing how we're going to use this technology. So tonight, just going to go over a few things with the overall purpose and need of the project. And I always try to go back to our mission, vision, and goals, because a project this size, we need to always keep that in mind. So TDOT is advancing quickly in these areas. This is something that's new. Having some of the things I'm going to describe tonight in place is brand new to the state. And we're using these tools on this corridor because it's one of the most congested in the state. I like to say this project is one small step for TDOT, one giant leap for motorists of Tennessee in this area here. So, but it's built on innovation, which we're going to talk about a little bit, and then collaboration in these capital investments. You know, this won't work if all 5 team members aren't pulling in the same direction. And I'm really happy to say that we are doing a great job with that. So we'll talk about, you know, some of the operations and maintenance, and we'll give you an update on the project itself as far as the construction and what's coming. And then Rebecca will talk a little bit more about our public outreach for the project. So go ahead and go to the next one there. I'm going to show you guys a video just to start with, and hopefully it plays. But this is our updated video from last summer that kind of talks about from phase 1 into phase 2, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So let's see if that'll play for us tonight. Audio.
Do you have audio on this?
Should be. All right. Drive on.
One, using physical, technological, and operational resources to improve mobility. Interstate 24 is getting smarter. The Smart Corridor project between Rutherford and Davidson counties is underway. The multi-phase, non-traditional construction will pair Interstate 24 with State Route 1, using physical, technological, and operational resources to improve mobility. Some work is not only visible now, it's functional. On I-24, ramps have been extended, giving motorists more space to accelerate or decelerate when entering or exiting the interstate. Emergency pull-offs have been added, giving motorists a safe space to leave the roadway to address any urgent issues while traveling. And roadside dynamic message signs have been installed, giving motorists more information on current travel conditions. Other work is less visible, but equally effective. Dedicated short-range communication radios have been deployed, which will contribute to the overall communication between the system and drivers. Signal systems have also been upgraded to improve signal timing along State Route 1, where traffic movements are already showing progress. The current improvements are only the first phase. In the coming months, gantry systems will be constructed along the interstate. These overhead structures will support the signs that will alert motorists to speed, lane, or merge conditions in the final setup. In the next couple of years, the corridor will see additional upgrades, both seen and unseen, that will provide motorists with a safer, more efficient, and more reliable commute in the miles between Murfreesboro and Nashville. For more information on the I-24 Smart Corridor, visit the project website.
So that gives you just a little bit of a taste of what's currently going on. So this is just, again, not spending any time on this, but our mission at TDOT is to provide a safe and reliable transportation system. And that's just what we are all about in everything we do. But this project supports that because we're going a little bit further, you know, in proactively managing the traffic, using all the technology and innovation that is at our disposal to try to do that. And then our goals here, and this is where I was mentioning before, that the buzzword tonight is travel time reliability. We're not going to be able to make that commute free flow completely every time, but if we can make it reliable, that's what our goal is. And of course, also to improve safety out there, along with the reliability. The all modes of transportation, and then of course, the concentration of crashes. That's a big issue out there, obviously, and these strategies we're putting in place will address that, help with that. So, and then this is a first of its kind as well as far as the level of coordination and cooperation with the local agencies. We're working very closely with all 4 of our partners out there. So go ahead. And won't spend a lot of time on this as well. We just want to highlight what causes the congestion out there on the interstate and on the arterial roadway. A lot of it is about bottlenecks, which is just basically when two main, interstates come together. That's part of it. But then there's a big piece of this pie we can really influence, which is the traffic incidents. One of the big things on I-24 and on Murfreesboro Road is the first crash we can't always prevent, but that second crash we can prevent. And we want to try to prevent that or at least get the response out there to get that crash cleared. So those are the things we're going to be using this technology to address. Go ahead here to the next one. And this is just some statistics that kind of speaks to why this project's important. The number of crashes we've had, this goes back a couple of years, but this trend is continuing as far as the number of crashes, the type of crashes we have out there. Interesting that the crashes on Murfreesboro Road actually are a few more of them, but it just shows that both the arterial roadway and the freeway are both need improvement in the safety area. So then one more slide there, Glenn, sorry. So then this is a kind of a traffic engineering term, travel time index. The key thing is if that number's over 1.0, you have some congestion going on. And we have that out there on both State Route 1 and I-24. Go to the next slide. So this, we're going to have a little bit of a dance here. These next three slides, I want to just show the red line at the top is congestion condition, basically. That's travel time that's in congestion. The green line, I'm not sure you can see, the color is good, but the line there at 30 is the average, travel time. So you can see this is in 2017, 30 minutes, but then 45 for the congested travel time. And if you go to the next slide, 2018, and then 2019, and then back up to 2017, what I want to show is that you see these peaks that are there. Those are the longest travel times on a given day. Those are the days when you didn't make it to your meeting on time, or you didn't make it to pick up your kids on time, or those kind of things from daycare. We want to reduce the amount, the quantity of that peak and the number of peaks over time. So you can see got quite a few of them, and pretty large ones in 2017. You come down, and also the difference in that between the congested travel time and the average travel time was fairly large. But you go through 2018, 2019, start to see that improving. The number of peaks is fewer, and then that difference is, and this is really, we haven't deployed all the things we're going to deploy yet. I think that the term integrated corridor management means we have a focus on this corridor, both from the incident response, from the traffic engineering, from all different aspects that are focused on trying to improve the function and the travel time on the corridor. So you see this starting to take hold. And we would anticipate seeing these gains maintained or even improved when we start to really put more of the innovative technology out there. Go ahead through the next. Yeah, so this is a good picture of all the partners we have involved in this project. It's a very much a team effort. All the way through the 4 agencies, Nashville, Smyrna, Murfreesboro, and Laverne, and also, transit will be part of this as we go forward. Obviously, our law enforcement partners, just everyone pulling together, like I said, for this project to be successful. So, next slide there. Okay, so this is probably one that you're interested in. This is the status of the project, what's included in phase one. Which is, phase one is completed this past summer. That's kind of some foundational elements. We've got to remember that the traffic signal infrastructure for the 4 agencies was in different conditions, different age, and different types of hardware out there. We've improved all that and made it one consistent system. We put in just some we would call low-tech improvements. Extended some of the ramps out there. That helps with the kind of the friction between cars when they're trying to merge into traffic, as well as emergency pull-offs, which seems like that's not a very technologically advanced thing, but it does help with incident response. It gives you a place to pull a disabled vehicle to, gives you a place to work a crash from. We have 14 of those along I-24. They're through there. So phase one, like I said, is complete, and we completed that this past summer. Now phase two is the big one. That's the one we are working on right now. It includes 67 of these overhead lane control gantries. You'll see individual message signs over each individual lane that will help to, like the video said, delineate which lane to be in and what speed to be going, and to try to, again, prevent that back of the queue crash. And so traffic signal upgrades, we're improving the detection on the traffic signals. And then we're also implementing this proactive arterial signal management. That's where the 4 agency partners come in. It's where our team from Arcadis and our team from TDOT will be working together to operate this technology. So that one, right now the construction timeline is looking for final acceptance, the overall contract closeout next May. We'll have we typically have a what's called a 6-month burn-in time where all of the devices are being exercised, make sure they all work right and work together. That will be 6 months before then. So really this fall we'll be using this system. Next slide, just on phase 3. Phase 3 is just getting underway for design. That comes in with another innovative technology called ramp metering, where we'll have signals on the entrance ramps to meter traffic into the flow, again, to reduce that friction. When you have people that are trying to merge, a lot of times it'll cause people to tap their brakes, and you have that accordion effect of a traffic jam just based on people trying to merge into traffic. So this technology, this strategy is proving to be very, very effective for interstates such as 24. And then 2 other things we coming in with phase 3 is arterial message boards. So we'll have some message signs to give the traffic on I-20 on State Route 1 more information as to whether to take another route, whether to go to one of the diversion routes between I-24 and State Route 1. So like I said, that one is just it's in preliminary design right now. We're looking at the earliest letting will be next calendar year for that. So it's really a lot of other pieces of this as far as phase 3, putting in the cameras and also connecting all of the traffic signals with fiber optic infrastructure, fiber optic communication. So go to the next slide here. So this is just a kind of a snapshot of what devices are coming into Laverne. In phase 1, that acronym DSRC is just the connected vehicle technology, where if a vehicle has an onboard unit, you can communicate with the road conditions, with the traffic signal timing, and indications with that technology, that device. But phase 1, we have some roadside DMS. It's the ones that you've typically seen. And then coming into phase 2, we're working on 16. The traffic signals in Laverne there. And then phase 3 coming in with the rest of the cameras. And then schedule here, again, this is important for tonight as far as the activity we're going to be seeing out there. Phase 2 has been progressing and is projected to, like I mentioned before, this fall be ready to be utilized. And so you'll start to see some activity with the over the lane control gantries coming in here in about a month. You'll start to see those going up. It's going to take about 4 or 5 months to install them all. It's 67 structures. It's a lot, but you'll start to see that happening here very soon. But this gives you a snapshot of the schedule for the 3 phases there. And I would say, go back. I'm sorry, Glenn. Just to mention that the schedule for phase 2 had extended a little bit, and it's that term that people probably use way too much these days is supply chain. We've had some significant issues with some of the devices and the hardware that's been delivered. So just to mention that, we've been working through those issues. And then this slide here kind of gives you a little picture of the complexity of the operations and maintenance, what all we are needing to put together kind of from scratch in a way, because this is a thing that TDOT and the local agencies haven't done together as far as standard operating procedures. We're working together on operating the signals and the devices on the interstate are you have to kind of build this from the ground up. So gives you, like I said, just a picture of what all is involved, and the team is working very hard to complete. Yeah, go ahead to the next slide there. So just kind of go into a little bit of the cooperation and the coordination where each of the 4 agencies and TDOT have been doing. We want to come alongside the 4 agencies in Laverne as well here. with establishing what the maintenance levels need to be for these strategies to work. But we're going to assist and train. Really, Kyle and his folks will be Arcadis, and our folks from TDOT will be working with them on all aspects of the traffic signal operations. And we'll have support from all different directions, I guess, is what I want to say there. We'll need to make the link between installing the infrastructure and operating and maintaining it. So it's a real partnership between TDOT and the local agencies there. So go to the next slide, Glenn. This is just a kind of a listing of the types of devices we're putting out there. These sensors are for travel time and for understanding what the traffic's doing on the arterial. We'll be operating the signals in a more proactive way. So these are detection cameras. These are detection devices for the traffic signals, and it'll be first time that the learn will have a central software system for the signals. So day to day, Kyle and the guys will be able to send timing plans, understand if the signal detection is working, not working, that sort of thing. So all these things work together to help us proactively manage the corridor, freeway, and arterial. So, and then one of the big parts of this that's a challenge that we're working through and that we're working together on is maintenance. We want to make sure that the response time for fixing a detector that goes out, the uptime for the traffic signal controllers, that sort of thing, has to be at a pretty high level in order for these for when we need to divert traffic off I-24, and it's already going to be diverting whenever there's a bad crash on I-24, that the traffic signal timing can accommodate that traffic flow. So we're working with Laverne, with our 4 partners on what it's going to take to get there. And so the idea is that we're going to work together to establish what the maintenance levels need to be, and then TDOT's going to come alongside and going to be providing an additional layer of support wherever those gaps might be. Go to the next slide. One of the things we're bringing into this project that's unique is what we call an ICM coordinator. That's a integrated corridor management is the acronym, but it's a role that'll help to bridge any gaps. So in our TMC, the guys in the TMC haven't operated a lane control system before, a variable speed limit system before. So we're going to have some folks from Arcadis are going to be sitting there with them to make sure that we can have the technical expertise to operate the system. And in addition to that, we'll have staff from Arcadis that'll be helping with Kyle and his guys and the folks from all 4 partners with day-to-day operations, with maintenance planning, with responding to maintenance issues. So we'll be filling that gap to make sure we have a good, successful project. Go to the next slide. This is just a picture or just a little bit about the ramp meter part of the project for phase 3. This is, again, we've done investigation on different types of systems that might work. This one is what we selected. It's based on kind of a responsive, every 20 seconds it queries, or it queries the system, queries the detector to allow cars to come into the system there. So that's coming up for phase 3. And then go to the next slide. This I'm going to turn over to Rebecca for a minute to talk about the public outreach part of the project.
So when it comes to this project, we're kind of reaching out on different levels, right? So we're here to talk to you all because if we're going to come in and say, hey, we want to partner with these cities and these agencies, well, we've got to communicate with you guys. We've got to actually partner with you guys. So this is one of the many steps that we're taking to make sure that these agencies and city councils and mayors and all of these involved parties are first informed, but second, have a chance to communicate back with us and have a discussion. So thank you for having us, first and foremost. And second, we hope that this can create an open dialogue. If you all have questions of us, if your citizens have questions, we want to make sure that we're informing you so that you can also then in turn inform them. because in a month or so, we will then in turn start the next level of that communication, which is the public outreach as far as a widespread messaging campaign from TDOT. Now that's going to be in multiple different ways. It's going to be our website, videos, social media. We're going to, of course, as we always do, get the TV stations involved. Hopefully you'll hear stories from, a Murfreesboro mom or a Laverne businessman or whoever it may be to say, yeah, well, I tried to pick up my daughter from soccer practice, but it seems like every couple days there's some big incident and I can't get there on time. And I don't know if I'm going to have a reliable commute. That's what this project is about. That's the messaging that we're hoping to hammer and send home to all of our locals and all of our residents to say, yes, this project, well, you know what? It's not cheap. And no, you won't see a new road, but what you're going to see is an improved, reliable commute time. And that's what we're hoping for. And that's what we want to make sure to let people know about. We're going to do that. You'll see the bullet points. I'm not going to read them off. We're going to do it in multiple ways, videos, social media, things like that, as I mentioned. But here coming up soon, construction will begin. And with construction means lane closures. And with lane closures means some upset residents. It means an upset me and an upset you, right? So we're going to make sure to inform people and keep them in the know that, hey, it's unfortunate, we're going to have lane closures, but here's what you can expect and here's how you can get around it. Thankfully, we're going to try and keep that work at night so that it's not going to be, in the middle of someone's day. And it definitely won't be in the middle of rush hour. But at the end of the day, it's got to happen. So, I just want to make sure that you all are in the know and that you can, be expecting the messaging to come from our office and in our weekly lane closure reports and in all of the social media posts. But at the end of the day, we hope that you will take this information and communicate it back to the people that you represent so that we can help manage some expectations.
Let's go back to that slide. I wanted to step through the function of when it's going to go in through when you go to the end, it'll go through the kind of the sequence there.
You want me to go backwards?
Go forward one slide. Yeah, so it'll start to go through this here. Yeah, so this is getting an idea of how it's going to function. It'll be variable speed limits, which will be detected what the speed actually is. It'll display that to 5 mile an hour, 5 or 10? 10 mile an hour interval to slow vehicles down, approaching a congested area, whether it be from a crash or from just average congestion. Then you'll see if the lane's closed, you'll have so I'll go back again. Sorry, I just hit it again. It'll go back through the sequence again. I apologize. Okay, so you'll start to see from the variable speeds to a lane closed ahead, you'll start to see the yellow X's over the lanes that are going to be closed ahead to tell people to merge over. And they merge over. So you'll have these lanes closed ahead, these are the lanes that are open, and then the red X is when you get up to that point where the lane is actually closed due to an incident. And this is the type of thing that we'll be working with y'all and with the public on educating folks on how this is supposed to work. What do these mean when that indication over the lane goes from yellow X to a green arrow to a yellow X to a red X? What does that mean? So that they understand what they need to do. And we want to make it, this is a great system. Compliance is important, and the great thing about this is that the back of the queue crash is what we want to prevent. So if you have speed limits that are showing slow down ahead, it's giving you that direct information, and that way you'll know what's happening and you're not going to be surprised by it. And everybody, as a motorist, you see the taillights come on ahead of you, but if you don't have time to react to that, that's where it causes a lot of these back of the queue crashes. So this is something we really hitting on pretty hard here as we get into later in the spring and summer to educate the public on what these indications will mean. So You can go to the next slide. I'll stop messing with you going back and forth there. And here's just some next steps, kind of talking about the work we're doing to set up the operations and maintenance of the project. We're working with Kyle and his guys on getting the traffic signal timing plans in place that will help to facilitate and to help traffic move through if there's a crash on I-24 and they have to divert off. They're doing that now, but we want to be able to do that in a more efficient way so they aren't getting stopped so much on Murfreesboro Road as they go through. The two acronyms there, lane control signal and variable speed limits, that was what I was explaining before. And developing those scenarios, getting that information into our software so that they can be controlled from the TMC at Region 3 there. And then Phase 3 design. And really, the interagency coordination is key to this so that all the partners have what they need, the tools they need from the operations standpoint to utilize the great tools we're putting out there. So I think with that, any questions y'all might have or anything we can answer for you tonight in information for myself and for Rebecca up there on the screen. We'd love to answer any questions you might have.
Anyone have any questions?
God, I got 1,000.
I'll take 200 at one time.
I'll start with the simplest one first. I just want to know for my own well-being, you keep calling Murfreesboro Road State Route 1.
Yes, sir.
What's that all about?
That's the name.
I thought it was 41.
Highway 41. State
Highway
Route
41.
1.
I've never heard that. As a trucker, we never use that terminology, which brings up my next question. All that study that you've done with all the traffic timing and all of that, is there, big trucks, the 2 lanes, is all that considered in that?
Oh, yes, sir. Definitely, yeah. The freight piece on I-24 and on Murfreesboro Road is both a huge part of the traffic improvements we're trying to make. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I know when trucks are out there. Now, is this thing, I love this idea. I've heard about it for years. Will all of that stuff be working 24/7 or just during peak hours?
24/7, but only the over the lane gantries will be, if traffic is not slowed down at all, you'll have the indication of the speed limit on the side, and the signs over the lanes will be dark. So there'll be times during the day where they'll be dark because everything is flowing freely. So any time of the day or night that there's a crash, the system will come on, and you'll start to see the indications over the lanes go from 70, 60 to 50
Okay.
as you approach it. So it'll be most active during peak hour, obviously, but it'll be on 24/7.
And does anybody else have this?
There are a few in the country. We're one of a few. There's a system in California we've looked at. We were going to go out to Washington State, to Washington DOT in Seattle. They've had a system like this up for about 15 years. We really learned a lot from them, how they've set theirs up.
I've never seen it out
It's in the Seattle area, yes, sir.
there. Okay.
Yeah, there's probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 or more around this country.
Las Vegas just put one in.
Yeah, so it's not the first time, but it's definitely new to Tennessee. We have variable speed limits on the fog zone down in Chattanooga. That's the only variable speed limit system we have in place, but this will be the first one of any size in the state.
All right, I'll let somebody else.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Talking about the Highway 1, is it gonna be equipped with the overhead signage like you showed that
No,
earlier?
sir, not on Murfreesboro Road. We'll have some strategically located message boards on State Route 1, but not at the same level we have out there.
Okay.
Key thing there is the traffic signal timing and, how coordinated the signals are to get.
Yeah, a lot of complaints I've got over the few years is the timing of the signals, on the side roads.
Yes, sir.
I've heard about the smart corridor for years.
Yes, sir.
I guess it's been talked about and planned for years and years, and
Yeah, it's been a little while, yes, sir. It's a big endeavor.
thank you.
With today's technology, it's great to see that coming into fruition for the area, and hopefully it helps our residents and everyone traveling through the area to get where they need to be quicker. So,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
State Route 1, I never knew that.
Moving on to old business, second reading ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance to amend Title 15, Chapter 11, Section 15-1101 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the driver education course. And this was discussed last month. This is just to amend the municipal code to remove the provision that the driver's education course has to be conducted by the Laverne Police Department. Does anyone have any questions on this? Seeing none, moving on to number 5. Second reading ordinance 2022-02, an ordinance to amend Title II, Chapter 3, Section 2-301 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the membership of the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. Just as I just said, it will change the membership. The new version will only require 2 members to be from the Senior Citizens Club. Of course, the county mayor or a commissioner from Rutherford County, and 3 members to be appointed from the general constituency without regard to the location of such member. It will reduce the size of that board from 11 to 7 members. Does anyone have any questions? Number 6, second reading, ordinance 2022-03, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 14, parcel 48, consisting of approximately 0.78 acres, located at 441 Sand Hill Road, from an agricultural zoning district to an R3 high-density residential zoning district. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on December 28th, 2021. A public hearing was held on Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Does anyone have any questions on this? Number 7, second reading ordinance 2022-05, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2021-2022 Streets Capital Projects Fund budget. And this will move $2,035,000 from the fund balance to the specific line items for 3 major road projects, which includes the preliminary design for the South Waldron Road widening project and the Fergus Road project, and the design of the Old Nashville Highway widening project. Does anyone have any questions? Number 8, second reading ordinance 2022-06, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2021-2022 general fund budget. This will move $438,993 from fund balance to this specific item. This includes architectural services for the new Fire Station 41 that will be on Old Nashville Highway. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to the consent agenda. A, approve city bids and purchases. Purchase and installation of concrete pad at the Senior Citizen Center. Ms. Felicia.
Any questions on this one?
Seeing none. Number 2, the synthetic ice skating panels.
This is just to make it where it's larger.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to B, approve lease contract with Big Thunder Events for an inflatable escape room attraction for the block party on May 7th, 2022. Does anyone have any questions about this? Moving on to C, approve contract with Nashville Party Authority for DJ services at the block party on May 7th, 2022. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to D, approve the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Master Plan. Does anyone have any questions? Alderman Coates, would you like to go into this at all?
Sure. I just want to explain that every 10 years or so, the Smyrna Airport has to do a master plan for planning ahead for their facilities and runways and taxiways. And so when it got completed, I was part of the committee. This is just to let the Laverne know what happened, where the money's going, what's going on. This also goes to Smyrna and goes to the county as well. So if you have any specific questions, please contact me and I'll try and answer your question for you.
Thank you, sir. Then moving on to E, approve amended contract with Pyro Shows Incorporated for the Independence Day fireworks display. Does anyone have any questions? With that, we will move on to new business. Motion to approve bid for the sewer pump station solids removal and disposal. Felicia?
This bid was open on February the 1st, and as you can see in the box on the screen, if you don't have it there, MRS Material Spill Remediation Company came in with the lowest bid, and the staff recommends that we take the lowest bid, because it would be an estimated cost of $99,600 for the year.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or discussion?
I do. So on looking at ECS, they also added for an ER for a small pump station and a large pump station, but the other two bidders don't mention that.
Yes, all of them are, the cost is for the small pump stations
Okay.
or the 3 large. We have 18 small pump stations and 3 large pump stations.
The ER, the way I took that was for emergency services, if we suddenly needed
Right.
them to come out right then versus something that's scheduled. And
This is scheduled so that we can hopefully avoid any emergencies.
For me, it's just a huge disparity between the lowest and the high bid. I mean, it's just a huge number.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. I don't even see it's open for discussion.
it definitely is definitely a big change there. We do currently use TPM Group. We've used them for 3 years. I think their current prices are $2,000 on the small pumps and $4,000 on the large pumps. So even their prices come down some.
And we haven't had any issues with our current company that we're using now, correct?
Felicia?
No?
They have made any accommodations, and actually, I think we've had them 6 years.
6 years? Okay. And I understand that any kind of issue that they've ran across, I think, for instance, they were down 2 trucks, and instead of charging the city for being down those 2 trucks, they went ahead and ate the cost for that. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My other question was, I guess this might be for Mr. Cope. I see that Matt Church is the supervisor for MSR. Is there still any kind of legal obligations going on with him as far as when he resigned as alderman?
With respect to the potential ouster proceeding, that ended at the moment that he resigned his office. So
Okay.
there's not anything legally with the city and Mr. Church. There may be other things with him I'm not aware of, but with respect to city government, I'm not aware of any.
Okay, okay. So personally, there still may be issues that obviously we don't know about.
Correct.
Okay. And did I see that correctly? They only have 5 employees for the whole company?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So,
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we require, the state requires us to have the compliance survey done, and
right.
that's how it was filled out, yes, ma'am.
Okay, understandable. So, just a shot in the dark here, so if there were still legal obligations and something were to happen, that would drop it down to 4 employees that we're gonna want to go with to be held responsible for everything in the city as far as that goes. Okay. I see that TPM has 54 employees, and from what I gather, we haven't had an issue with them, so.
We haven't, but I have to say, as staff, our obligation is
It's
to
for the
try to
lowest.
save money.
Right, no, I understand, that's understandable too, but something in this nature, you know, you kind of get what you pay for in my eyes. So I think, this is my opinion, but we should stick with TPM, who we have now.
Alderman Waldron? Would you like to chime in at all?
You know, on general, over the few years, you know, we've always leaned to the lowest cost. You know, not always. I think it's just up to the board how individual feels on it. it comes up Tuesday for a vote, so, you know, the proof of being the pudding Tuesday night.
Well, it is up to the board to determine which one to accept. Our duty is for the lowest and best bid. So review your packets, and unless there's any more discussion on this from the board.
I do have one other question. The other applicants supplied a liability certificate insurance. We didn't get that from MRS, is that correct? I don't see it in the packet.
I didn't see it in the packet. Felicia?
We don't require that in the bid packet. We would require it if it's awarded to them. At that point, we would require it. I do think that there was let me look, I've got it here. Their state license, business tax,
I've
because
seen that in the.
they are out
packet,
of Wilson County, so they do have that. And then the state board license for contractors is attached.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think that Alderwoman Honeycutt makes some valid points. However, when there's a $80,000 difference, and I guess this contract it's not binding. I mean, if something happens, they're not doing their job, or
Any of our contracts, they're good for the term as long as they're working. If we have an issue, I contact them and try to work out the problems. If they cannot be worked out with the department head that's got the issue. But I stay in contact with management if there's issues. And then if there are too many issues, then yes, we would rebid it.
with no repercussions. Evan?
Well, Mr. Vice Mayor, it would depend on what the specific issues are. Yeah, you'd have to kind of check. Let me also mention, it's a good time to mention too, as the mayor rightly said, your obligation is not necessarily to the low bid, but the lowest and the best bid. I know one thing the comptroller's office wants to make sure is that if a city government is going to go with anything other than the low bid, that you make sure you clearly state on the record when you make that decision, the reasons why you're not going with the low bid as opposed to the lowest and best bid.
Steve, I know you were talking about, the $80,000 difference, but obviously we've had history with TPM where they didn't hit us with any extra costs due to their own issues. I don't know if that would be the same with MSR. Would we get billed excess money for lack of employees or equipment failure or things like that? But apparently we have a good stand-in with TPM, so.
Any other questions? Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you.
Moving on to board, appoint, remove board and committee members. First, we've got the Beautification and Arts Committee. We've got 7 terms vacant. We do have 2 applicants. That is being advertised on Channel 3 and on social media. We have been sort of holding on, going ahead and appointing people, just so that we can get the full board together at a time. That way you don't have just a partial board. Their time frame's already running, and they can't even meet because they have a quorum. So if you know of anybody, please tell your friends. If you're watching this on YouTube, please, if you're interested, feel free to apply for that. Next, we have,
Just,
yes, sir.
as you just mentioned, you're talking to the public out there. Can you tell them just a little bit about what that board would entail, so if somebody wanted to?
Well, this is a board that is looking at beautifying, different ways that we can beautify the city, as well as bringing in arts. So I know I've, in the past, spoken about a potential mural here on the back of City, or on the side of City Hall, that would celebrate our diversity as a city. You have different areas that absolutely could be beautified, whether it's the entrances to the city, over by I-24. There's multiple opportunities. So this board can come up with new ideas that I haven't even thought of, and they can work on making the city, again, better for everyone.
I hope we get some good people with good ideas. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely. Does So moving on, next we have the Board of Zoning Appeals. We've got one term vacant where Jim Hessman had resigned. We currently don't have any applications for this board, so if we don't by Tuesday, this will be removed from the agenda. I do know I've had a couple people reach out to me and pick up applications for that, so I will touch base with them. But if y'all know of anybody or you're watching this at home, please feel free to apply. Next, we have the Library Board. We've got one term vacant. That is Glenn Green's position. Currently, we do not have any applicants, but if we receive any by Tuesday, it will be on the agenda. If not, we will remove it. And then, last but not least, we have the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We have one term expired, one term vacant. Now, we do also, just to keep in mind, there is currently an ordinance on the agenda that will come before this to reduce the number of members for this committee from 11 to 7. This ordinance is a second reading, so if approved, the removal of 4 positions can take place at Tuesday night's meeting. The term for Wayne Blair expired at the end of the year. He does not wish to remain on this committee. This is the county mayor and the county commissioner's position on this committee, so we will reach out to the county mayor. Bruce, if we could get an email maybe over to each of our commissioners and to our county mayor.
Come up in conversation tomorrow night.
Okay. But just to let them know. And then we also have Sharmel Babalosa, who has resigned from this committee since she recently moved outside of the city limits. This could be one of the 4 positions that's removed from this committee, but there will still need to be 3 others after that. So any questions with that? Seeing none, we're going to move on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
First thing I want to address is the committee appointment members. I will not be voting on any of these appointments. The reason is it was obvious the last month that this has turned into a political issue, and I'm not going to get involved in it. That being said, I want to keep the Byrd family in everybody's prayers for their loss, and that's all I've got.
Alderwoman Honeycutt.
I'd like to congratulate and welcome our new firefighters to the city. It's awesome to see those guys come aboard. I also want to ask everyone to keep Miss Carol with the Senior Center in your prayers. It seems like she's kind of taken a turn backwards as far as recovering from her accident. So ask everyone to keep her in her prayers, in your prayers, I'm sorry. Also, if everybody could keep Ukraine and our military men and women in your prayers as well. And that's all I have.
Alderman Coates.
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor, I'm good.
Vice Mayor, no.
Everything that Alderwoman Honeycutt said, that's what I was going to say.
Well, I absolutely agree with what the Alderwoman said for definitely praying for Carol and the people of the Ukraine and our military. I do also want to congratulate our new firefighter, Mr. Brandon Schroeder, because as we learned tonight, he will be welcoming a little one into the world. So that is such a blessing. With that, I call this meeting adjourned.